Today I will be revealing my top 5 anime of all time. All of these anime are great, and I will list the pros and the cons. I will not be biased. I will shine light on the flaws that these shows have. Starting with number 5, Kaiji. This is the best suspense anime I have ever seen. It's a lot like Squid Game, but in my opinion, it does it better with the suspense factor and the gambling. Start out with the main character, Kaiji, who is bankrupt, and he's on the verge of being homeless, and he owes a large amount of money to loan sharks. So he has a choice to go on a cruise and gamble. But this isn't like any other casino. In this casino, you are gambling away your freedom, and if you lose, you will be a slave. And the story just gets better and better from there. It gets more and more complex, and the stakes get higher and higher. Now the flaw is, the anime only covers roughly around a fourth of the manga story, so it's not completed, but definitely check it out. Number 4, Berserk. This anime has the best villain I have ever seen, and the best written characters of all time. Great story. The anime covers the Golden Age arc, and one chapter from the Black Swordsman arc. But I would advise to skip the first episode. I like how it starts out and you think it's just a normal medieval story, and then it just turns into a bunch of demonic shit out of nowhere. So I would advise to skip to the second episode. Now, this anime has the best plot twist I have ever seen, and the ending is like the best cliffhanger of all time. Now the flaw, obviously, is that it only covered one arc from the manga, so it's not completed, and many things were left out from the manga as well. But I would highly recommend this to anyone, and I would prefer to watch it before I would read it. Number 3, Hunter x Hunter. Hands down, this is the best shonen of all time. Every arc is completely different. None of them are the same. It never gets repetitive. Togashi was a master storytelling with this one. It's like he took everything from Yu Yu Hakusho and just improved upon it. Improved upon his storytelling and made a masterpiece. The story follows our main character, Gon, wanting to find his dad because his dad left him at a young age. He wants to know why his dad left him. So he sets out on a journey to follow in his father's footsteps. That may seem like a very simplistic plot, but it gets more and more complex as the story goes, and eventually it seems like it becomes a seinen. I would highly recommend this anime because it is top tier shonen. It is peak shonen, and it makes shonen like Naruto and Bleach look like Sesame Street. Now the cons for this anime are Kite. The absence of Kite in the beginning, and how they try to just plug him in the Chimera Ant arc. And the first arc, the Hunter exams, was really rushed. In the 99 version, it was like roughly 30 episodes, but it was rushed into around maybe 15. Besides that, this anime is masterful, and everyone should watch it. Number 2, Monster. Hands down, this anime has the best world building I have ever seen. It's quite the long journey, 74 episodes, and the pacing is really slow, but it's a good slow. One of the best villains of all time. I wouldn't say he's as good as Griffith, but he's a good villain. My favorite protagonist of all time, Dr. Tenma. I love what he stands for. The story follows our main character, Dr. Kenzo Tenma, a neurosurgeon. Now, his hospital is corrupt, and his boss wants him to prioritize the rich and famous over the poor. Even if a poor man comes in first, his boss wants him to ignore that man and take care of the famous person. So, for example, a boy was shot in the head and he came into the ER. He was taken into the ER, but also soon after, the mayor of the city was in critical condition as well. Dr. Tenma's boss told him to ignore the little boy and to save the mayor. But this troubled Dr. Tenma, so he debated a while in his head about it. He decided the right thing to do would be to save the little boy. Now, years later, this little boy grew up and became the most notorious serial killer. And this troubled Dr. Tenma, so he sets off on a journey to find him and stop him. Now, this is my favorite story of all time, but the cons here are the pacing and the ending. Around episodes 40 to 60, the pacing gets extremely slow and it's very hard to follow along. It was a chore for me to keep up with it and to watch until the very end, but I'm glad I did, because this is an amazing anime. Now, the ending. Many people have a problem with this ending because it is very abstract and vague. And when I first watched it, I did too. But over time, I learned to appreciate the ending. And this is one of my favorite series of all time. So definitely check this out. Now, number 1, Parasite. A lot of y'all probably didn't see this coming, but this is my favorite anime of all time. Hands down, the best character development, best drama, and best philosophy in any anime I've ever seen. The message at the end was delivered so well, was executed so great. This story follows our main character, Shinichi Izumi, your average, everyday high schooler. He was a nerd, he was a wimp. Then one day, alien life forms known as parasites appeared on the earth, and they started taking over people's brains. This one tried to enter Shinichi's ear, but he had earbuds in, so it couldn't. So it tried to enter his nose, but he woke up and sneezed, so the parasite couldn't enter. So it burrowed into his hand and tried to make its way from there. But Shinichi quickly thought to tie his earbuds around his arm to keep the parasite from going upwards. And it worked. He had to settle for his arm instead of continuing up to his brain. So it made a human parasite hybrid almost. But that's only the beginning. Around episode 6, this goes from a good story into a phenomenal one. Shinichi gets badly hurt to the point of almost death. Basically, his heart gets destroyed. So his parasite that he names Migi goes into his heart and repairs itself. This causes little fragments of Migi to go all into Shinichi's body through his bloodstream and even enter his brain. So there's many psychological changes, and it makes him almost like a psychopath. He doesn't have any feeling, he has no emotions. He's just completely logical. And it shows the pros and the cons with this throughout the series. Now, the cons for the story will be the pacing around episodes 17 to 21. It gets a little slow and a little boring, but it's needed for exposition. And the ending was a little rushed. But for what they were trying to do, I don't think they could have did it any better. This is truly a masterpiece of a story, and everyone should check this out. So, thank you for watching this, and leave your top 5 in the comments below. Until next time. He had to settle for his arm instead of continuing up to his brain. So it made a human parasite hybrid almost. But that's only the beginning. Around episode 6, this goes from a good story into a phenomenal one. Shinichi gets badly hurt to the point of almost death. Basically, his heart gets destroyed. So his parasite that he names Migi goes into his heart and repairs itself. This causes little fragments of Migi to go all into Shinichi's body through his bloodstream and even enter his brain. So there's many psychological changes, and it makes him almost like a psychopath. He doesn't have any feeling, he has no emotions. He's just completely logical. And it shows the pros and the cons with this throughout the series. Now, the cons for the story will be the pacing around episodes 17 to 21. It gets a little slow and a little boring, but it's needed for exposition. And the ending was a little rushed. But for what they were trying to do, I don't think they could have did it any better. This is truly a masterpiece of a story, and everyone should check this out. So, thank you for watching this, and leave your top 5 in the comments below. Until next time.